Have you ever wondered what the very first battle recorded in history looked like? It wasn't just a clash of swords and shields. It was a turning point that shaped empires and even our language. This is the story of the Battle of Megiddo, the moment warfare was first written into the annals of time. In the 15th century BC, the vast Egyptian empire, a powerhouse of the ancient world, found itself on shaky ground. Far from the Nile and the lands of Canaan, a rebellion was brewing. The ambitious king of Kadesh rallied a powerful coalition of city-states, uniting them against the pharaoh's authority. Their chosen stronghold was the formidable fortress city of Megiddo, a strategic crossroads that controlled vital trade routes. News of this defiance reached the newly crowned pharaoh, Thutmose III. Young but possessing a keen strategic mind, he refused to let his empire fracture. Gathering a formidable army of 10,000 soldiers, he marched from Egypt, determined to crush the insurrection and reassert his absolute dominance over the region. The stage was set for a monumental confrontation. Upon reaching the southern approach to Megiddo, Thutmose III and his generals were faced with a decision that would define the campaign. The terrain presented three possible routes to the city. Two were wide, open and safe, circling around the formidable Carmel Ridge. The third option, the Aruna Pass, was a perilous and narrow path that cut directly through the mountains, leading straight to the enemy. His seasoned commanders strongly advised against it, warning that the narrow canyon was a perfect spot for a deadly ambush where their army could be trapped and annihilated. Despite the risks, Thutmose III saw an opportunity where others saw only danger. He convened his war council and made a declaration that stunned his generals. He would take the direct route. His audacious reasoning was that the rebel forces would guard the obvious, safer roads, never anticipating that an entire army would attempt such a reckless maneuver through the treacherous pass. In a display of incredible courage and leadership, the pharaoh announced he would lead the charge himself, ensuring his chariot was the first to enter the canyon. His army followed, stretching into a single file line that snaked for miles through the rocky chasm. It was a gamble of epic proportions, betting the fate of his empire on the element of surprise. The pharaoh's audacious strategy worked flawlessly. As the Egyptian vanguard, led by Thutmose himself, burst out from the narrow mouth of the Aruna Pass, they caught the Canaanite coalition completely off guard. The rebel forces who had positioned their main armies to defend the wider, more predictable routes were thrown into chaos. The surprise was total, and the ensuing battle on the plains before Megiddo was a rout. The disorganized Canaanite army shattered and fled in a panic, abandoning their richly supplied camp and scrambling for the safety of Megiddo's high walls. However, the moment of absolute victory slipped through the Egyptians' fingers. Instead of pursuing the fleeing enemy kings and crushing the rebellion in one swift stroke, Thutmose's soldiers broke formation. They were mesmerized by the incredible wealth left behind in the enemy camp. Chariots of gold and silver, fine linens, and vast stores of supplies. As his army stopped to plunder the spoils of war, the rebel leaders managed to escape and secure themselves within the city's fortifications. A battle that could have been won in a single afternoon now transformed into a long and arduous siege. For 7 grueling months, the Egyptian army encircled Megiddo, constructing a moat and a wooden palisade to cut off all hope of escape or reinforcement. Cut off and facing starvation, the city finally had no choice but to surrender. The fall of Megiddo was a resounding triumph for the young pharaoh. As the defeated Canaanite kings bowed in submission, Thutmose III cemented his legacy as one of Egypt's greatest military conquerors, securing his empire's control over the vital Levant region for generations to come. This was more than just a victory. It was the birth of military history, meticulously recorded by his scribes on the temple walls at Karnak for all posterity. And the name of that ancient battlefield, Megiddo, would resonate through the millennia, eventually passing into our vocabulary as the word for the final apocalyptic battle, Armageddon.